Hi everyone, welcome to CMC Conversations. I'm Parishi Kanuga, a first year at CMC, class of 2026, and today I'm interviewing Professor Massoud, who has been teaching accounting at CMC for 43 years and stands as one of our most notable professors. Hi Professor.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, good.
So, feel free to introduce yourself.
Well, I was born in Alexandria, Egypt, and I came to the United States in 1967 in a scholarship to study in New York University. It was not my choice, with the scholarship given to by the university. And I enjoyed, but it's because it's not a resident campus, it's not as good as CMC when we get to know each other. And then my first job was in Buffalo. And then from Buffalo, I went to Indiana, and then I came to Claremont. And this is my last semester.
So, before I took your class, I just knew you were a great accounting professor.
Oh, thank you.
But when I started, one thing that really stood out to me is how all of the students call you Dad. Can you explain that?
Well, my theory when I came to CMC, that we have many students coming from different places, and I was always involved in the orientation in the first week, and I feel that the parents leaving you in my hand, they entrusted you in my hand, so I feel what I want for my children at home, I want for my children in CMC. And this is when it developed the concept of Dad, which I really appreciated very much, because I really think of you are my children, and I want you all the success, because I feel if you will not succeed, I fail before you. Mm-hmm. So this is the concept of what I want for my children. Now my grandchildren is I want it for you. So you can even call me grandpa now.
So, yeah, I mean, when I just started college, one thing that I had to quickly realize is because my parents aren't here, I have to parent myself. And that's a challenge that we don't talk about enough. So having like a sort of support system is really helpful. And I think that also helps like in the learning process itself.
No question, especially for the international students, that you're coming, leaving home, and I cannot blame you if you feel homesickness because you're far away. You're missing your parents, you're missing the culture, you grow up in it, and you try to come for a new place, a new culture, new food, new friends. So on that basis, being born overseas, I understand the problem that the students, especially the international one, go through it. And this is when we started the International Connect, as to try to help those people who are coming this year by giving the experience of the people who came before. And I'm always available to share with them. I came older than all of you because I came to grad school, but it still was a challenge for me being in New York City, coming from Egypt. And in New York City is a different world by itself. So it was a challenge. So I understand the challenge you're facing, but my thinking is you are determined, and if you want to succeed, we have all the means to try to support you to succeed. I think that's what's great about our college.
I mean, you are an international professor, so that's very fitting.
I'm more sympathetic.
So what are some examples of how you've provided support to students?
Well, I liked, when my wife was still alive, we invite you to our home. So all our Thanksgiving was surrounded by great international students, because we know they cannot have, really Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So we developed that culture. Now I don't have it because I don't have my wife, and on that basis we do not do it. But I meet with them, I take them for lunches. When we have the international place, I was always there in the international place having coffee with them, because just they need to support them and encourage them and understand that it is a challenging, but it's also rewarding. In a sense, when you do it, you said, I did it. Yeah. So on that basis, one of the things I really disappointed is closing the international place.
Okay, and I feel like the way that you give students, not just international students, but students in general, like a chance to really feel supported by the person that's teaching them, I think that's very motivating for the learning process itself. Like, I never personally imagined that I would be able to understand accounting at the level that I do now, but I think the reason is because the class that you teach and the network that's created through tutoring, through more review sessions, through office hours, and also just the community of students itself. I think creating like that type of motivating learning environment allows us to have like a sense of family in the classroom, both amongst the students and you and amongst the students who are learning this subject. So I want to know what you think helps a student learn best and feel supported in the learning process.
I think, Percy, the most important thing to make the students feel that you are a part of my life. Remember when I say, I fail before you? So I want them to understand from the very beginning, if we will succeed, we'll succeed together. If we will fail, I will fail before you, because I know you are very intelligent, you're very qualified to be in our school. So if you could not do well, I blame myself first. So, I have to take the responsibility. It's a new language, that try to communicate the new language to you. Be always as many hours as I could be, having the review session, just to try to make myself available to teach you that new language. And I know, because you are smart, just it's like a hole, accounting like a hole. If you dig more, the hole will get bigger. So we have to keep digging more together until you learn it. And I think it's very relevant, whatever major you have. Just think when mom and dad called you and said, manage your budget. That's an accounting topic, how to manage your resources. So I think any one of you, whatever your major is, you need to understand the accounting. Was a concept before was running a couple of years ago that we should make the beginning class is a required class, like a GE class. But definitely we have some people on the campus will not be happy with that. So, but we have a good percentage of you come, and we have that personal finance class now. The whole idea is to try to communicate to you that you have resources, you be successful, and you be earning salary, how you manage those resources, and be able to remember that you are not indispensable. One day you'll be old like me and you have to retire, so you have to have some resources at retirement.
That's very interesting. So I want to know, what's the difference between someone who founds a startup and they have accounting knowledge and someone who does not?
Well, the problem with a startup, as you know, you'll be getting money from other people to support you, and you are accountable to them because you like to be sure that you may be looking for additional funding, and you have to go back for them. So they are smart, but they are not in business environment. So on that basis, they have to trust and hire somebody that they trust to do the accounting for them, and can stand and say you should not do that because this is not correct. So on that basis, friendship, sometimes it doesn't really look good when you're in business, because you need some people to tell you, no, it's not the right way. And I think that's when you have your accountant will be supporting you and helping you to do the right things, because you have to have reporting to the people who support you financially. And one day you have to file your taxes. So on that basis, having a technical person next to you will make you succeed and achieve your goal.
I mean, I personally don't know if I want to go into banking or accounting. That's a possibility. But if I end up going into something that's more business-oriented, having that accounting knowledge in the back of my mind as a lens for the decisions that I make, I think would be very helpful. Because if you can think in numbers and if you've been trained to think that way, then you're going to end up being smarter about your money, just inherently.
I tell the people who are in management and science, if you become a doctor, you will hire me, but I want you to sit down across the desk and ask me intelligent questions.
Exactly.
So that's the whole idea, that really you need to know something about accounting, because whatever you do, you need that to manage your number.
Yeah.
Just managing your life by number, that's everything we do right now. So adding this knowledge, I think for anybody in a school, I think they should consider that class. This is my last semester, but we have other great faculty staying in. We're hiring some new faculty, but that's a good class to add value to your learning experience coming out from CMC.
And I want to know, so I'm sure your teaching style is very different from when you first started teaching accounting. So how has that evolved, and how have you kind of come to conclude is the best way to teach a student accounting?
In fact, as a historical, when I was a student in Alexandria, Egypt, I like accounting. I became an accountant by coincidence. I never wanted to become one, but I became an accountant. And I was able to explain, we do not have tutor because we have the bigger class, a different system. But I was able to help my fellow in the class, my friend. And my dad even bought me, that's all the blackboard was black, I remember those time, and chalk. And I will explain to them, and I felt in love with that. And for that reason, when I graduated, I don't want to work in any place. I wanted to become a faculty. So I waited for a scholarship for 5 years to come to NYU. And during that time, I worked for Barclays Bank. So I got interested in the banking, but still my hobby is to be teaching, be in the classroom, because my feeling I'm adding value to virtual life by just mentoring her and guiding her. And I am known to be that helping students for getting the internship, because I think in our field, the internship will give you the practical experience and add value to your learning experience. Accounting is learning by doing. is different from having a pure liberal art class.
One thing that you've told me is that accounting is learning by repetition. If you do a problem once, maybe you'll grasp it like very lightly, but you have to keep on doing it. And it's that persistence that you have to have. So can you talk more about that?
My philosophy, as I said, I will never want to give Bershi a D as a grade, but there is 2 Ds that I want Bershi always to think about them: desire and determination. If you have the desire to learn and the determination, you will learn any topics. You are all capable, you are smart, and on that basis, just to become, I wanted to learn this language, and you will learn it, and that's what you are doing. And also, accounting is one of the topics that really practice makes perfect. So if you do more problem, well, just the concept will be less in your mind longer, and it will never leave you because you understand the roots of the problem. So practice makes perfect, and that's what I keep telling you. Let's do it again, and be determined. And determination, you will reach your goal.
So how do you instill desire and determination in students?
I think because all of you see how much, I love you and I work for the class. So I always say that, if I am a really workaholic, I want you to be with me until we finish the 15 weeks. Just let's put the time together because we are looking for result. We are result-oriented, and we like to achieve your goal. And it's not over until it's over. So we are working together. And that's the reason I said the comprehensive exam is important. And if you do comprehensive exam well, I have to overweight it because this is all I want you to know. By the end of the semester, you got it. If you got it, you should be rewarded.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I appreciate is how you tell us that we have it in us. And things are very confusing sometimes, and I might have to ask you to explain it to me like 3-4 times before I actually get it. But one thing that I've noticed is that patience is what really allows me to stay determined, because I know that even if I don't get it a bunch of times, I know that you'll still be patient with me. Students know that they have the chance to mess up with.
Because I believe in you.
Yeah.
I believe you from the very beginning. I know you are not in our institution if you're not good. So if you are good, why you cannot learn accounting? So I take the responsibility to be persistent and determined to, communicate the message to you. And again, patience is very important, but because I love you and I want you to learn the language from me. And you can see why many alums still in touch with me, because it's a relationship. I want this relationship to stay behind and below the class.
So how do you keep in touch with alum? What is the nature of that?
Oh, I communicate with them by Christmas card.
Oh.
I attend weddings. I'm very famous for attending too many weddings, many bar mitzvah, baptism. I just very involved in their lives, and I love that. And then when I get the Christmas card from them, and they have their kids and the letters writing, they make my life.
I mean, you're their CMC father.
I'm CMC father. You're right. And,
Yeah.
So it's a great school, and I enjoy my 43 years. I've been missing you guys.
What has being at CMC kind of taught you?
Well, I came for the students because the students was the most attractive things for me. You really are good, you're smart, you're capable, and I'm a more students-oriented. My feeling that I was teaching in business school, but when you come to undergraduate liberal art, which we are missing at some time, the most important thing is teaching. Because you could go to bigger school, but you are in this school to get the attention of the faculty. So I think sometimes we are mixing the issue between the research and teaching. Research is very important, but you are coming in the liberal art not to read my article, is to learn from me in the classroom. So the classroom performance is what really make you learn more than just reading an article I wrote in a journal. But things change.
I think one thing that's very important about starting college is realizing that this isn't a place where your grades are going to be the top priority. More important than that is what you're actually picking up, and I think that's what you're paying for. You're not paying for a 4.0, you're not paying for that stamp on your degree. I think what you're paying for is the knowledge that's going to follow you throughout your life, that's kind of going to guide you in your career pursuits and in general, just through the life that you're conducting.
For that reason, I think they call me dad, because I'm mentoring you. I'm not a teacher, I'm a mentor. And that's what I believe in. Advising is very important, because really it's not just taking my class. what you're going to get from the class. How can this add to your educational experience in the 4 years here? How this will advance your career goals, because definitely you come into CMC, even if you want to go to grad school, that's the goal. How can we help you to achieve your goals? You are here to invest time, which is more important than money, and on that basis, how can we get a return on your investment by achieving your goal? And I have to play a very important role by helping you to achieve this goal. Otherwise, I fail before you do.
And what about the students who don't know what their goals are yet?
We will develop them together, because we will keep talking about what option available, right? What your interest is.
Showing them the opportunities.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think giving guidance to students and just figuring out what their goals are and then the steps that they're going to take to achieve them, I think is very important. And it's also an ongoing process where you're going to keep in touch with students and keep on checking in with them. But as many may know, Professor Massoud, you are retiring this year. So how do you plan on keeping in touch with students and just making sure that they're staying motivated and moralized?
I'm trying to do two things, and hopefully I'll be successful in the two things. One, I asked the Dean of Faculty if she can get me an office in the trailer. I know everybody went to my office, which is very scenic, but I'm willing to take an office in the trailer and make myself available for somebody like you who I had me, but we have a relationship until you finish your 4 years. And hopefully the Dean would be willing to do that. The second one, I give each one of you my cell phone, and my email will stay the same at least for a while. And I just was talking to somebody yesterday, said, keep me informed about how the summer internship work out, and then at that time we can assess whether this will be the right place for you to go back or do something else. So I think my interest in you will not be changed. Definitely the school have a lot of Massoud around. We still have the Mrs. Massoud scholarship, which I like to come and present at some time. So on that basis, I think the school made an investment in me, and I made an investment in them back. And I expected to be coming to visit you. And I'm not planning to move east 100%. I'm keeping the condo in Claremont. So since I'm keeping the condo in Claremont, I'll be coming to have some time lunch with you and Colin and the other students. So I'll be around, even if I will not have the office. So I'm planning at least, since I'm staying healthy, to be around Claremont, because CMC is my life.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the school will have a lot of Massoud around because, I mean, whenever we walk by the Crafts building, you're going to see the cube, which is named after you. And, I mean, that's really great to hear that you're still going to be around, possibly in an office. And then what about the accounting program itself? What's going to happen?
We're just again authorized to find a faculty to replace me. The school, for financial reason or other reason, they wanted to hire a brand new PhD. So usually those people are great, and they come in with many new ideas. But what we find over the time for CMC, you do not really enjoy so much as a green faculty, as a faculty that really had been experiencing teaching in other institutions. You guys are very talented, you're very smart, and you are curious to know more. So you need somebody who's not just to be green, you need somebody having experience to try to communicate to you, not what the book said. That's why I don't care about the book. I wanted to share with you what's happening around the world, because this is a very important. Accounting and economics is twins, and you like to tie that together.
I mean, I think the importance of being a professor isn't just like someone who's teaching you the subject, but can also be a source of knowledge in general. Like over spring break, I was very confused on the Silicon Valley bank crisis, and I emailed you.
Right.
And you cleared it up for me.
And I answered that. So that's very important. That's the relationship. And you felt that by the break you like to ask me, and I answer. So I think it's a relationship, and I think this is what I'm worried about, the new faculty, that I built this relationship, and it meant a lot. It's a big part of me, and I saw it even when I lost my wife. All of you stand by me, and we started that scholarship in her name, and all of you stand by me and contributed. So I owe so much to the students and alum on my life.
So yeah, I think there's two sides to this relationship. So it's the amount of commitment that the professor is willing to give, which clearly you give a lot of commitment. And it's also what the student is willing to put in. I think you can just show up to class and get the base level education, but I think what students should really take advantage of is the fact that professors have office hours, they have all of this knowledge on this subject. And I think it's important to really try to become friends with your professor, because that allows you to have someone who, as you said, is a mentor, a resource, but also someone that can really support you in the learning process as well.
Actually, I always felt that because you students feel I care so much about you, you care about me. So you try to work harder because you don't want to disappoint me.
Yeah.
So become a relationship. I push you a little bit, but because I love you, you wanted also to give me the love back. And all what I'm asking is your performance, so you try to do better. And it's working very well. It's two-way street. You know, I'm not an easy faculty. You admit that, you know that, they know that, everybody. But I give, and I expect you back, and because you love and respect me, you will give me back. And I think it was a very successful formula. And when everybody will ask me why you get all those teaching awards, I said the formula is very simple. Love your students. Very simple. If you love your students, they will go all the way for you.
That's true. And I think the material that you teach, it takes hours. Like, it takes hours to really understand what accounts receivables are.
I know.
And what inventory is. Like, I wouldn't even know what that meant. I'm sure our viewers, some of them might understand if they've taken your class, but it's something that's very, like, complicated, and it really takes a lot of effort to understand, and the students being willing to put in that effort and not just doing it for the grade, but doing it for you. I think that's more of a motivation, because it's like, because this classroom feels like a family, we're willing to put that extra work to keep the family strong.
No question, you put the extra form. And also I try to use that, you know, I'm not trying to be funny, but using those story, because if I use this story, would ring a bell, and Percy, when she started to face the issue, said, oh, he told that story. So it's just very important for account to bring all this example from the practice, from your day-to-day activity in life, because it will make you to understand the concept, because we are teaching a new language. It's a new language.
I know, it's a new language, but you have to understand how it can be incorporated into your life. And then that makes it easier to get. Yeah. I mean, speaking of the stories, like, I think it's really fun when you just say, Parishi, she bought a car, but and then you say another student's name, but they want to buy this car from Parishi, and I just love how, like, you really integrate the students in the class into your teaching
examples. And you notice that I know each one of you. And this is one of the assets you know
everyone's name.
Everyone. Right? And if you're not show up in the class, you'll get the email.
Do you have any stories to share, like, of?
Well, no question. One of the most fascinating story I have, and I like to share. One of my students, and I call them one of my daughter, got married, and I was invited to the wedding. And then she was have the first dance with her dad. And during the dance, he stopped, and then she came to dance with me as the second dad, and I will never forget that. So it just shows the relationship I have with my students. So that's always ringing in my mind, how many weddings I attend and how many celebrations I have been. I enjoy my 40 years, every second of it. I will carry with me too many memories from the campus, and we celebrate together my 43 years in our great institution.
All right, and then do you have a message to students, present and past, and future students that are studying accounting? I
will say, go Stags, you are winners, and winners never quit, and quitter never win. That's my theory.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on for this interview, and I mean, I learned a lot today about just your history and teaching and your philosophy, and I'm excited to close out this year strong with you.
Thank you.